So A-Day turned out to be a big success in more ways than one, as Alabama also reeled in a commitment.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama AHSA Radio Network's Luke Robinson. That's me. Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein. That's him. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. I'll tell you about Monarch Money here in just a little bit. I want to thank you every day for being here every day. Thank you, newbies, for being here today. And thanks, everybody, for making us your first listen every single day. Jimmy, we're still trying to find out more and more from A-Day. You were there, so I mean, you don't have to try and find out. I'm trying to find out, and our listeners are. But the reports are coming out. We also got a commitment. We'll talk about him in the second segment, and we also lost another player to the transfer portal in basketball, and we'll talk about that in the third segment. But why don't we start, since we have talked about the quarterbacks a little, but just briefly touch on, again, you feel like Ty Simpson, it's not necessarily has this thing in the bag, but he's the clear front runner right now, right?
He has to be. I don't think any reasonable person that watched just A-Day, let's say you watched nothing else all spring or read nothing else, but just watched A-Day, it's completely clear that Ty Simpson is out in front. And not only that he's out in front, he should be out in front based on the way the players performed, particularly when you factor in who they're going up against. I mean, Keelan Russell didn't have a great day, and he was going up against, mostly backup players, although he did flash his immense talent. Ty Simpson had a really solid day, and he was going up against good players. And I think it comes down to simply this in terms of where we're at right now. If yesterday was the dress rehearsal because Alabama was playing a game next week and you put a panel of experts in the crowd, it would be unanimous as to who Alabama's starting quarterback should be if Alabama was playing a football game next week. So it's Ty Simpson's job right now. I think that's completely apparent. But the thing is, it's not, the season doesn't start next week. And Keelan Russell, due to his age, Keelan's going to be the one improving a lot over the summer and into the fall. Keelan's ascent will be steep because that's the way it works for year one guys. Once he becomes more comfortable with the offense, understands things, he's the one that's going to improve a lot. Ty's in year 4 now. Ty's improving, but Ty's going to improve incrementally. It's pretty rare that year 4 guys all of a sudden wake up and they're a different dude. I mean, Ty's going to be improving incrementally. Keelan will be skyrocket. Austin Mack somewhere in between the two. Austin struggled a little bit. My understanding was he struggled, in the scrimmage situations this spring too. I think the game moves a little fast for him right now, which is the most common problem young quarterbacks have. I mean, and Ty Simpson had that issue as well when he first got there. That's just, Keelan's dealing with it to an extent at the moment. The game moves really fast at this level, and they have to speed up everything. That takes a while to make that adjustment. So that's what's going on with the quarterbacks. I feel like Alabama's in real good hands. I'm very optimistic that not only will Ty Simpson be good, I think he'll be better than good. I think Alabama's going to put a really solid quality SEC quarterback on the field this fall, and it's going to be about minimizing mistakes because I think Ty's going to make plays.
And we'll talk about this later in the summer, but I feel even better because of some of the other circumstances around other teams. When you look at Jackson Arnold didn't take any snaps for Auburn in the spring game. I don't know. Maybe it was because he was banged up a little bit. They just didn't want to risk it. But, apparently their quarterbacks that were there had their share of problems. Now, Deuce Knight's going to look good. But Tennessee now, without a quarterback, I mean, they're down a quarterback at least. They're down their starting quarterback because he's just gone. I mean, he's not on the roster anymore. And we all know that story. So I'm feeling better that other teams are having their own little quarterback issues and nobody has necessarily jumped off the page. Now, I hadn't looked at John Mateer for Oklahoma or anything like that because we play them too, or anybody from Mississippi State. I know about Nussmeier with LSU, and I didn't want to dive into all those, but we'll talk about all the other teams a little bit later on, maybe sometime in the next month. But I did want to bring up wide receivers because I felt it was interesting. One of the highlights from Ty Simpson, and apparently he didn't have like a lot of highlight throws. This wasn't a Tua throwing darts all over the field
Okay.
exhibition from anybody. But one of the receivers he seems to have a good rapport with is Derek Meadows. He hit him for a touchdown. He hit him for a pass over the middle. That was the highlight I was referencing earlier, where it got out on social media. Um, so I think some of the receivers, maybe some you didn't even expect, they showed up and looked good on a Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, you would expect that the leading receiver or the one that would really stand out is Jeremy Bernard. I think we all know how good Jeremy is. Jeremy proved himself last fall. I mean, he's a really good player. He didn't necessarily do too much to completely stand out. If I had to pick out one wide receiver that I thought looked like the best one on the field, I think it's number one, Isaiah Horton. Goes by Zay. Zay Horton, I think, is going to be not just good, but outstanding. And I fully expect him to be a major part of things at wide receiver, along with Ryan Williams and Germ. I think Zay Horton's going to be wide receiver 3, for lack of a better term. As to Derek Meadows, I have a lot of compliments about Derek. For one thing, for such a big receiver, and really he's not big, he's just tall. I mean, he's not heavy. I wasn't a huge fan of playing Caleb Odom at wide receiver last year. I know a lot of fans were because they look at his size and they know he runs a good 40 time. But Caleb Odom, to me, is a tweener. He's a little big and lacks wiggle and juice to play wide receiver, in my opinion, the Caleb Odom I've seen. And he lacks size to play at the line of scrimmage and play tight end. And I think he's a little bit of a tweener. The thing about Derek Meadows is there's absolutely no tweener stuff here at all. He is 100% pure wide receiver. He has juice. He has speed. He has a great catch radius. He can get open, as Luke just said. So true. He does a good job of either gaining separation or finding open space. Doesn't matter which one you do, right? Some receivers are really good at one. Some receivers are good at the other. Doesn't matter which one you're good at. It's just important that you do one or the other. Either gain separation and coverage, or you're a technician that's really good at finding the open areas. And Derek Meadows does those things. I think he's going to be a spectacular player down the road. The thing I would worry about for Derek this fall is just simply opportunity. The wide receiver group is stacked. It's not like last year where Ryan and Germ soaked up all the oxygen in the room. I think it's a deep group this year with a lot of guys who are going to make plays. Zay Horton 3, a guy who didn't stand out yesterday, but he's been a standout all spring, is Lotsier Brooks, the freshman from New Jersey. I think Lots is going to be a major player this fall. I wouldn't be surprised if he was, quote, 4th, in the wide receiver group, as good as he is. Rico Scott, by the way, played a lot of snaps with the ones. The first group yesterday was Germ, Zay Horton, and Rico Scott. That was your first team yesterday. Now, they play a lot of other guys with ones and twos, like Jalen Hale, Cole Adams, who was working at punt return, by the way, and of course Lotsier and Derek Meadows. And how about a name we never mentioned because he's been out all spring? Bubba Hampton's still around, and I think he's a guy with significant upside that we hadn't really seen much of yet.
Yeah, and I think everybody wants to see him because they've heard good things, and I think they're actually probably some people a little surprised he hadn't transferred yet. Now, who knows what's going to happen? I
Portal
mean,
opens this
obviously
week.
the portal is going to be a thing after it probably for the next week or two. I don't know exactly. Is it open right now?
No, it opens Wednesday, although a lot of players are announcing their intention like this weekend and in the lead up to it. Y'all will read a lot of players announcing their intention to enter the spring portal. It actually opens Wednesday. Well, let's be honest. I mean, no, I don't have a name for you guys. Yeah, I mean, I talked to people in the program, and these things are sort of hard to predict even for people in the program. But let's be honest. Do I think players will leave Alabama this spring? Yeah, I do. I do think players will leave. That's because they leave everywhere. Alabama's not an exception to some sort of college football rule. I do think players will leave. Now, in my opinion, or my best guess, I think if players leave, it'll be guys towards the lower end of the depth chart that realize that they're not playing and they're not going to play this fall. And the spring has sort of been an indication to them that they're not really in the plans for this fall in terms of playing in the games. And I wouldn't be surprised if 1, 2, 3, or 4 guys left. But we don't lack for room, so no one needs to leave. The only ones that would be pushed out would be disciplinary guys. And but we'll talk about it some in the third segment, as you guys see on the right. There could always be some disagreement about NIL money that could lead to someone leaving. That's just the unfortunate nature of 2025, as we saw play out with Tennessee this week.
I can't. There you go.
Monarch.
Monarch Money. Monarch Money. We're so happy to have them as a sponsor. We appreciate them so much. What a great idea. You ever check your bank account and wonder, hey, where'd all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control of your finances. Monarch Money isn't just another budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, all your investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. You can manage your money with your partner even smoother than ever before. You can track shared and personal accounts. You can set goals, and you can stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege, all one word, LOCKEDONCollege, for half off your first year with Monarch Money. Everything seems a little delayed for a second. I don't know. Okay, so let's. Oh, do I still have TurboTax on there for some reason? There we go. I do. All right. So let's talk. Let's talk Kamari and Johnson. So just so we don't get caught up. I mean, we can go back to the scrimmage if we need to. I'd really rather stay on recruiting. Honestly, I think a lot of people would. I mean, everybody loves to hear about the 8A scrimmage, but it used to me it used to be kind of a disappointment every year anyway, in the sense that, oh, I didn't get to see all I wanted. It's kind of like watching the NFL Hall of Fame game. I'm so fired up because, I mean, just give me any football. It's like what Eddie Murphy said about if you've been missing out on something for a while and you really want it bad. And then if you're starving and somebody gives you a cracker, you're like, what was that? A Ritz? That was delicious. But if you get crackers every day, you're sort of like, anyway, people don't know what the heck I'm talking about.
Eddie Murphy raw.
Eddie Murphy raw, baby. But then the Hall of Fame game, the spring games, they're always, I mean, I'm so fired up and then I'm kind of disappointed just because it didn't give you what you want. Recruiting always provides. Recruiting always sustains me. And Alabama got a big one in Kamari and Johnson, an in-state recruit, 3-star / 4-star. I think he will be probably, I'm going to say unanimous 4-star, but he might be a 3-star on one service. He's that kind of player. And he's got a bit of a baby face, which I kind of like. He's got sort of a, Tim Keenan's got a little baby face. Now, I don't mean that in like a really small, tiny, always crying face. You know what I mean? Like a real smooth, not Ashawn Robinson. There's Tim Keenan, and then the other end of the spectrum is Ashawn Robinson. Everybody else in the middle has like regular looking faces.
I'm not sure where Kamari and Johnson, by the way, goes by. For those that struggle with the name, he goes by Mari, so that's easier. Mari Johnson. He goes by Mari. I think, I'm not sure where he's going to end up ranked, but I know this: he's good. He's legit good. I watched the tape again this morning. What I love about him is, by the way, I know he's listed at a lot of places as an edge prospect because that's what he does at Muscle Shoals. He plays on the edge. He's going to be an interior player at the college level. The comp for him in terms of where he's going to play in this scheme at Alabama is Jeremiah Beeman. That's who he's going to be, is Beeman. Okay. So I know you won't list him as an edge, but there's another edge. No, this is an interior defensive lineman. He weighs 250 right now. So this kid's going to be 280, 290 in college quickly, probably even during his freshman year. I mean, the weight game there will be significant. And the key with him was, can he retain this level of athleticism as he gains this weight? As they put this weight on him, will he still be what he is now? Because let me tell you, he will knock you out in space. He's pretty remarkable in space for his size, which really shows off his athleticism big time. This is a 250-pound player that will be in a three-point stance and make a play on the far sideline. I mean, that's his incredible range. He also, as Gene Stallings, one of my favorite Gene Stallings quotes, definitely applies to Maury Johnson. He arrives to the ball carrier in a bad humor. He absolutely detonates the guys with the ball, which is really scary in high school because Maury weighs 250 pounds and most high school skill players are pretty small. So he's killing these poor kids who unfortunately carry the ball and get hit by this big defensive lineman at Muscle Shoals. So I'm really excited about Maury. To me, where I would rank him in a typical year, this is a kid I would rank probably as high as 150 and as low as 200 or 220. To me, that's a blue chip prospect that virtually anyone would take. I think the only programs that would watch his tape and meet him and not take him would be programs that, for whatever reason, are in real good shape with elite defensive linemen. I think only elite guys would be taken ahead of him, and there's not many of those. So I think this, again, I like the comp here is Jeremiah Beaman. Now, Beaman's ranked higher or was ranked higher than Maury is. I'm going to attribute some of that being to Beaman being at Parker, being in Birmingham, playing big school ball in Birmingham, gets a lot more attention than kids up at Muscle Shoals because that's a little bit up in the country a little bit, right? It's a little bit outside of the Birmingham media market, the Mobile media market. Though, there's more prospects in Birmingham and Mobile, in part because of population, but also in part because of attention. I mean, kids in Birmingham and Mobile or even Montgomery get quite a bit of attention. When you're removed from the metropolitan areas, it's a little tougher for those kids to get noticed and ranked. So, but me, Maury Johnson is an extremely similar prospect to Jeremiah Beaman. And I bet most Alabama fans listening to the show are like, boy, I'm glad we got Beaman. I mean, Beaman's still probably a year away from being a really big-time player at Alabama. But I think we all realize that Jeremiah Beaman is tracking to be a really good player. I think Maury Johnson's basically the same kid. And again, I mean it in a complimentary way.
Yeah, Muscle Shoals may have the Swampers, but they don't have the recruiting services. Right. You love how I worked in some Sweet Home Alabama.
Oh, yeah. I get yeah, that's a Sweet Home Alabama reference there. That's strong.
All right. So Derek Zammit was there. We talked about him. I look,
Saw him.
according to
I mentioned I saw him.
No, you didn't see him, but Steve Wiltfong thinks we lead for him now. So
yeah, I saw Derek Zammit at the captain's ceremony when there's several prospects there. I don't know that every prospect that was on campus yesterday made it to that, but I would say off the top of my head there were 20. I recognized a couple. I definitely recognized Derek Zammit. He was there, and solid looking kid, by the way. People around me were commenting that he's not thin. A lot of high school quarterbacks are in the gaining weight, but Derek Zammit, pretty well put together kid for a guy that's still a junior in high school. He had a great visit, by the way, per Wiltfong. They're pressing Derek Zammit. You want some scoop? I mean, I think there's some pressing for Zammit to get out and commit, make a decision, because quarterbacks help recruit the rest of the class. I mean, your quarterback is sort of the quarterback of the recruiting class, right? So there's some pressure on Zammit to, hey, let's make a decision and get on board, and you can start being our unofficial 11th recruiter.
yeah, and you always just want to have that guy. I mean, they are the bell cow typically, regardless. I mean, as long as they aren't some 2-star true diamond in the rough, they usually are linked in with the whatever. Whenever you're talking about somebody's class, you're talking about hey, 5-star defensive lineman, 5-star wide receiver, and then low 4-star quarterback, because the quarterback's the most important position in all of sports, if you ask me. Did Jaquiz Wilkes make it in?
Yes, Jaquiz Wilkes was at Alabama this weekend and not Auburn. That was really big because I would have gone ahead and said, and I would have cried while saying it, because I think everybody that listens to the show knows me and Luke both have a bro crush on Jaquiz Wilkes. Had Wilkes gone to Auburn and not Alabama yesterday, I'd have been crying to report that it's probably over. because the kid's gone to Auburn sort of repeatedly, hadn't been to Tuscaloosa. But now that he's been, that's when our staff shines. Courtney Morgan and his staff do a great job of rolling out the red carpet for these guys, and everyone raves about their trip. So hopefully Alabama's making up ground here, because I'm a big Wilkes fan. Regardless of where he signs, I'm going to believe he's going to be really good. I'm a big fan there. I'll also say this back to Derek Zama quickly. There was a good line on BOL from a random poster who said, apparently right now in 2026, our options at quarterback are it's Zammit or damn it. That's pretty good.
It's not bad.
That's not bad.
Kind of piggybacking on me though. I kind of want an asterisk for some.
I doubt you were the first to do the I'm Derek Zammit. I doubt you were the first, but you do it best. You do it best.
Yeah. I do remember that. I remember this kind of vividly. We won't get off on this much. You had a law firm with a guy named Frank, right? At one time? Franklin. And we were like, you were Franklin Stein?
Franklin and Stein.
And I remember you thinking like, I don't think you had heard that before. I was like, Franklin Stein is like, what are your cases against? Fire and pitchforks?
Right. It was good. Hey, I was leaning into the monster thing. I encouraged my partner to put the green-headed monster on our business cards, and that was shot down, as most of my legal ideas were always shot down, frankly.
All right, so CD Morgan was there. I also confirmed, by the way, I mean, not that we needed confirmation on this, but a buddy of mine, a couple of buddies of mine, they do sports splits down in Alexander City, and they actually had the interview with Cedarian Morgan where he announced he's going to announce on July 2nd, because these two guys do the play-by-play for all the Benjamin Russell games. And so obviously Cedarian Morgan being on the Benjamin Russell team, and he did announce on that program that he will be announcing his commitment on July 2nd. I don't think there's anything necessarily huge about that date, just sort of, hey, let's go do it. But I didn't get any further because he's a big Auburn fan. I didn't want to talk any more about, is which way are you leaning? Because I feel like I know which way he thinks he's leaning, and I think I'm leaning the other way. But so Jimmy, let's take a break, and we're going to come back and talk a little bit about Darian Reed. All right, now we're going to talk Supply House. Supply House. I love saying that. What a cool name for a company. Appreciate Supply House coming on board. And if this live read text will ever come up, I'm going to read it. Oh, here it is. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service. You always find a real person to talk to. And trade pros, they're looking for an extra edge. Their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated home phone line, and free shipping and discounts on every order. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your order at supplyhouse.com. My bad. I've been meaning to give you more responsibility on the live reads and let you say the .coms. That's my bad.
I'm not sure that counts as responsibility, but I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to let people know that to find a website, you still do .com at the end. I think that is a great name for a business, by the way. I mean, that Supply House, if you need supplies, go to Supply House, right? I mean, that makes sense.
That is. I mean, it's like Home Depot. It's like, I don't need a confusing, we're Robinson Iron. I mean, people always call me and they're like, do you do other stuff than iron? I'm like, yeah, we do, but iron's sort of our thing, Yeah. So anyway, all right. I do want to say a couple of things just really quickly. I told you guys a couple of months ago, I went to Armour House in Birmingham, a new steakhouse there. And I went there last night with my wife, and the waiter that came up to me the last time and recognized me from Locked On Bama recognized me again, named Avery. Super, dude. I'm going to tell everybody, go to Armor House. They are not paying me for this. I just want to tell y'all this because they were so nice. I just feel like if you, it's yes, some of the prices are high as a giraffe's pancreas, but that's okay because it's worth it. It was totally worth it for a big event, for a big life event, or just a Friday. Go to. I'm telling you, Armor House was delicious. I cannot wait to go back. Um, and then I was going to say, oh, and then we went to a pop up comedy show, which is like just a random comedy show in a like an abandoned warehouse. And somehow my wife got tickets, and there was one dude that was pretty
Something a
funny.
serial killer would set up.
Exactly what they said. And then also they some of the comedians I appreciate everybody giving it their best effort, but there was one set of comedians that like they sang songs or whatever, and some of them were pretty funny and creative. Some of them got so potty humor
Yeah.
that it was disturbing to me. Do
It's
you
gotta be
understand?
It's got to be funny about the R-rated comedy. It's got to be the stand-up. That's fine with me if it's funny. If
It's
it's
funny,
funny, like
but
Richard
it
Pryor
was
was funny, Eddie
Jimmy.
Murphy
This
was
was
funny. If it's not funny, it's just like you can't just get up there and just say a bunch of bad words and think everybody's going to laugh.
they made me feel like an old man. I was like, I'm not finding any humor in this at all. Yeah, and like y'all were doing okay. Like I get it. Like you got to find your footing. But this last song was so cringeworthy, and they said such nasty stuff. Like you couldn't even think. They were like, "We're either going to sing a Christian song or a nasty song. Which one do y'all want?" And of course, everybody was like, "Nasty song," and they were like, "Okay," you know. And it was the worst nasty song I've ever heard. All right, I'm not getting into that.
Well, now we
So,
know. Now we know which one to pick next time.
so if you're at an abandoned warehouse and two dudes are there and one of them picks up a guitar, run.
Always. Well, I was going to say always pick the Christian song.
No, just run. I bet you the Christian song wouldn't have been much better. But anyway, so Darian Reed is entering the transfer portal. Okay. Yeah, I can't help but feel a little duped. Not duped because nobody really made me feel this way, but it wasn't that long ago that there was some serious discussion that, hey, there's a chance Alabama could keep Darian Reed, could keep LeBaron Philon and Mo Diabate. There was some serious talk of that because they thought it could work it out. Now, before everybody says, see, Luke, you don't know what you're talking about, flash back a week and a half ago. Mo Diabate allegedly had agreed to come back at a certain number. Darian Reed, it looked like was going to come back. Now, LeBaron Philon always going to go through the draft process to see where he lands, but it's leaning more like, hey, he's not going to be drafted in the first round anymore. Most mocks don't have him there. So that wasn't out of the question. Now we're going to be pretty fortunate to get LeBaron Philon back out of the three alone. Now we got Tyler Bowl Bowen, and of course Rylan Griffin. I think is on campus today, Sunday.
Sunday
And
for BOL.
now my question is, are if you had asked me a week and a half ago, I'd said yes. The ideal situation is get Philon, Mo, and Reed back. I want the continuity. They've been in the system. I dig it. But if you had said, okay, here's the thing, you're going to have to overpay for Mo. You're going to have to quit recruiting Rylan Griffin because that may, tick off the Reed side. And you don't know about LeBaron Philon still. It's the same, status quo there. Then I'd say, oh, well, I don't want to overpay because that's not what we do because we can't start doing that.
You overpay one, now you got no money left for someone else you want because the roster's not complete.
So if you tell me we get Tyler Bowen in favor of Mo Diabate and we don't overpay, then I'm like, okay, that I can live with that. Y'all know I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. Y'all know I love Mo D. Cool Mo D to me. But Darian Reed, while I want him on this team at the same time, by the way, as a do not contact tag, which tells me he's probably already got where he's going, which is again his prerogative. But
I've been hearing about Georgia since mid-season.
Exactly. Now, if you told me who would you rather have legitimately, Darian Reed or Rylan Griffin? Jimmy, to me, honest to God, I don't know that I would say it's a coin flip. I really like Rylan Griffin a lot. I hated that he left. Rylan Griffin was Mo D before Mo D.
Ryland brings us something that we lack a little bit. Meaning, last year at times we struggled defending the perimeter, and Ryland does that as good as anyone. I mean, Ryland's kind of a what we need because he's a defensive based guy that's just really good on that end of the floor, and we sort of need that. So I'm sort of hoping that we do end up welcoming Ryland Griffin back, and I can be a little vengeful about this stuff. My initial thought was I don't want him back. I don't want anybody back that left, but you got to do what's best for the program, what's best for the team, and Ryland does fill a need. I'm not as upset about others, about Reed, Stevenson, and Diabate all leaving, just simply because I have a mindset that I've already adopted of 13 out, 13 in. I just sort of expect it now. And I know it's not literally ever been at Alabama 13 out and 13 in, but I have that mentality, I have that expectation that I don't know who we can keep. I just know this. Thankfully, I have massive confidence in Preston Murphy and Nate Oates to build a roster out of nothing, whether it's recruiting high school players or recruiting out of the portal. I know Alabama's roster is going to be great, so I don't lose a lot of sleep about it. But to me, it's like 13 out, 13 in, and that's college basketball as a whole. We have too many Alabama fans that just live in the Alabama bubble, and they think, why does this keep happening to us? It's college basketball. It happens to every single body. This is the way it works. One end of the continent to the other, and Alabama's not an exception to that rule. This is just how it works. 13 out, 13 in, and that's why I'm not particularly torn up when anyone goes, because I'm like, well, expected that. Last year I kept being asked during the season, who do you think is going to come back next year? I don't know. I don't know that any of them will come back. I think it's crazy to guess because the kids themselves don't know until the agent reports, well, what the DMs look like. I mean, that's really how this works. So, Alabama will replace Darion Reed. He is a good player with a lot of potential. And I think I'd be excited if Ryland Griffin came back because he fills a need.
I'll say this too. And again, this is not a shot at Reed because I think Reed's got all kinds of potential. But if you're telling me, okay, you really have to, you can't just say, I'll take either one. You can't, do like that. You got to pick one. I'm probably going to pick Ryland Griffin because, number one, he's played some time in the Alabama system. He's also been at Kansas and been exposed to a bigger program like that. Now, he didn't have his best year.
Probably learned stuff that's going to help him.
Yeah. Okay. And I would say this, Ryland Griffin has helped us win games, like individual games, not like collectively. He's helped us win games in the past. Darion Reed, while I appreciate it and the potential is as clear as day, I can't think of one particular game where I go, if we don't have Darion Reed, we don't win that game.
No, that's so true. And Griffin's a senior. Like Luke said, he's seen it all. He's helped Alabama. He helped Kansas. I mean, you're not going to play for Bill Self for a year and come back a worse player. I don't believe that. I think Griffin we're going to get the best version of Ryland Griffin that's ever been. And we need a perimeter defender. It was one of last season's weaknesses, and Griffin fills that need. He can be a shutdown defender out there. He can defend the 1, the 2, or the 3. And this is a guy that goes and gets rebounds. Ryland Griffin won hard hat awards when he was at Alabama over effort, and we know that he can shoot it fairly well.
All right, I just realized that I did this whole show with yesterday's theme box frame. You and I did the whole show. Look now, I just changed it. That's so stupid of me.
I don't know how it was yesterday's in the sense because it did mention that we got a commitment.
I just changed it. It was this whole show.
I just changed it. I thought recruiting was a hit today. Okay. Does that mean we got to do the show all over? Because I can't do it now.
No, I'm not doing the whole show over. I don't know how to fix it, but I ain't doing it over.
Okay. We're still recording, by the way, so you got to take all that out.
It's just like there are going to be some people confused thinking it was yesterday's show, and I need to put that in the thing. And we're still talking on air right now. I need to quit doing that.
We do need to do that.
All right. That's going to do it for today's podcast. We'll be back tomorrow more. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.